Hello, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining in today's session. And once again, welcome you all for yet another experience on research to explore. In the first place, let me ask my learners, how have you all been? We met last Saturday, probably that was our recent session. And after that, now Thursday. And how's things at your end? Yes, Malik, your mic is on. Would you like to talk?
Hello, just I want to make sure it's audible with you
Yes, you're audible.
because I was
All right.
issuing an issue that I can't log into my access.
All right. You're very well audible, and also I'm able to hear it clearly. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. You're welcome. And I saw Michael's thumbs up over there. All right. So good to see you all before the stipulated time. In fact, I was checking this spreadsheet once again. I remember giving an activity for my learners stating that we have to take in an effort from the first learning outcome to create the proposal outline, at least. I was glad to see the number of learners filling in that particular spreadsheet, which I had shared online, and a couple of observations, but I'm not going to take it now. It's too early to come up with the observation at this point of time. And also, as discussed, I've not included an additional tab on the corrections at this stage. I thought I'll finish my Saturday session as well. And altogether, we're going to have one of the reviews, and I'll also be explaining to you what exactly is part of your research proposal. So the assignment brief technically is part of your module kit. So the proposal is what we're going to build for the outcome of this particular module as well. So I'll be walking you all through that, and then I will re-reflect your outline, which is being portrayed in the spreadsheet as well. And then I will give the observations in an additional tab so that you can start structuring your research proposal simultaneously. So it's a good turnout. I think 24 learners until 7:15. I was taking account on the tracker. So we have 24 learners who have filled in all the details, at least to the best of their knowledge. And some of it were exceptional per se, and others I'd like to re-reflect, but nevertheless good effort. So first of all, good job on that front. But I still have outstanding learners who haven't filled even their ID given by the university. So I'm going to chip in the engagement officer to follow up on this activity as well. So after today's session, so that they get an email and they have to update the tracker as well. It's important that this particular module upholds 100% attendance. So just in case if under any extenuating circumstances, you may have to, not turn up to the session. So we would review on case-to-case basis in line with the university provisions as well. So barring that, definitely you'll have to be part of the session as well. So with that note, I'm just gonna run through a couple of things for today's session. So previous session, in fact, we had an overview on what exactly is the fundamental of research and also the framing of research topic, which ideally would turn out to be the title in your dissertation, and the objectives, research questions, the gap analysis, further scope on how to look into what exactly is a problem statement and where exactly you need to re-reflect on your existing study as well was discussed. And today I'm moving on to the component of literature review. In fact, literature review is something which is, again, fundamental in any part of the research, just not at the master's level, but if the learners wish to take a doctoral study as well, literature review plays a very pivotal role. So I'd like to have your attention again in today's session because this particular module, unlike your previous modules, is pretty unique. So very few of you all would have been in a situation to get exposed to research. If not, it's everything fresh, which would be running through in your mind as well. And learning exposure is also going to be new. So today, review of literature. In general, we talk about the literature review and how to go about it and what are the steps, processes, why it is really important in research is what I'm going to walk you through. So as a researcher, you would really want to understand this element of why lit review. So literature review plays a very important role out there. And also, I'm going to teach you step by step. In fact, you're going to do the practical activity and share your screens live with your cohort members. I would just be giving you some commands per se. So I would just post on the chat few processes and you would do the activity parallelly on the tab. Did you just gonna put you on mute? Right, so please ensure your microphones are off, switched off. All right, so this particular activity is going to be pretty interesting because you're going to run the show based on the instructions that I'm going to provide, and you would screen share and present to the entire cohort members what have you done in line with this lit review as well. So it's going to be technically an activity on the search engine and how we can narrow down on the number of articles is what I'll be explaining to you in this particular practical hands-on experience. So that is how we need to take it forward. And yeah, Farouk, uh, I'm not sure what happened to my name on the sheet, but I added to, okay, that's good. Probably someone when editing would have deleted by oversight. That is absolutely fine. If you do not find one, please ensure that numerically you record it to as a closure like you've done. Okay, so that's good. All right. And I see a couple of transcribing applications on the chat there. Okay, so probably a few people are taking notes as well. All right, so coming back to the literature review. So we're going to run a show on again, another activity. So I prepared two activities for the class. And based on the way you people react, respond, and take it forward, the intensity of the activity would be rolled out at different intervals of today's session. So with that note, yes, then the first and the foremost thing I'm going to start with is the word literature review itself. So how many of y'all have heard about literature review? If you have heard, then what does it imply? Literature review. How many of you all have literally had a literature review? You can be honest enough to say, no, I did not know. But yes, the theme. Would you like to explain to class whatever is your understanding?
Yeah, in our previous assignments, we had this task. So we had to research through the articles, academic articles on the topics, the relevant topics, and basically go through those articles and see what points were relevant to our own topic of assignment, and then quote those or cite those relevant portions of those articles in our assignment.
All
So
right.
we had to review documents and through Google Scholar and other websites to see
Mm-hmm,
what's available currently and
mm-hmm.
how it correlates to what we are doing.
All right. Oh, that's nice. Very well articulated. So the theme actually put forth the overall ideology of the literature review as well. So carrying on from there on, yes, literature review, this is pretty exhaustive because it includes theoretical background, of course, and the contextual clarity as well needs to be provided based on the topic of discussion that you would like to pick further for your proposal and presentation. So let me give you much more idea on how it begins and what is your role as a researcher in a proposal and even the dissertation. For dissertation, in fact, literature review is a chapter in itself. So it's actually part of second chapter in your dissertation after your introduction, which comes as a first chapter in the dissertation. But in the proposal again, soon after your introduction, which is a crux of your topic, you just proceed with the lit review. So, first of all, literature review. Now, as a researcher, you need to try and understand that this is actually going to provide a comprehensive summary to the readers and also yourself on how you can analyze the existing scholarly work. So, what the theme was telling, the previous or the existing work is what we need to look into on the particular topic associated with the choice or the interest in which you have picked up your pathway now. So if you do not have a clarity on the particular topic that you're going to carry forward, it becomes very difficult for you to run the literature review. And sometimes the focus of the literature review goes a little intense pertaining to your research questions as well. So you can correlate it with either a particular topic which you opted for or the research question. Now, this literature review also provides a critical overview on what exactly is the existing literature talking about your topic, and also it identifies the gaps in the current knowledge which you as a researcher need to establish as a context and significance of a new research that is going to be conducted in the form of your dissertation as well. So it's highly important for you to draft your literature review to say that, hey, listen, the literature as on date is this much, and I feel that there is a gap pertaining to a particular topic. And I've identified this gap through the literature review and the contextual clarity that I, as a researcher, I'm going to establish at a later point of time by giving a context in fulfilling this gap that I've identified through my new research. So you're technically contributing a new knowledge to the study, and you're creating that significance only because you've identified the gap through the literature and through the study which is still conducted as on date. So the key purpose of a literature review is again important for a researcher to understand. So first of all, why do I do or get into literature review is to get the contextualization in place of your research, because we have a broader academic conversation happening in a literature review. So how are you going to introduce the context as a researcher is very important. So lit review plays a very important role that way. And the crux of literature reviews, again, gap identification. So you have to highlight what has not yet been studied in the field of your topic, where the existing study until the date is lacking. And you say that it lacks on XYZ factors. That is where your research question comes into the picture. And you chip in to say that I'm going to introduce a solution through my research in fulfilling those gaps. And also be very cautious and avoid duplication. So how can we even avoid duplication? Again, literature review is going to help you and ensure you're not repeating the past research unnecessarily. So generally, the tendency of the individuals is that you would be in a position to discover something new, but you wouldn't have done a lot of reviews through literature to see that someone else has done similar topic of discussion or a research. So try avoiding duplication. This is going to be a kind of a disclaimer for you all. The reason is you cannot repeat a past research. You cannot just mimic something and say that this is my research and I thought there was a gap existing. So, which is why we say people to do an exhaustive literature review. You know, the world at large has humongous population. And now that we have internet and XYZ websites, which talks about multiple articles, which again, I'm going to give you the links of the websites where exactly you can find articles for free, where you can download it and get into the part of literature review, because you'll have to cite, you'll have to provide the references of each and every article, each and every component of this contextualization or a theory that has been completely end-to-end studied as on date as well. It's important. And citation, again, and be discussing on the Harvard referencing style and further LOs as well, which is a fundamental component of your research as well. So try to avoid duplication, and you need to support your methodology, which is actually going to be the third chapter in your dissertation. So you have to justify your research approach by referencing similar studies, for which literature review plays a very important role. And ideally, you know, at a master's level, I particularly, you know, suggest my learners, and I insist because I always push my learners to publish their dissertation in some journal, you know, a reputed journal, because I don't want my learners to just, you know, prepare the dissertation just for the heck of the score on 100 and stack it aside. No, you have to eventually get into publication. So sometimes I go a little edgy on the learners whom I feel really have the potential to get into the publication without much reviews. So I ask them to develop a theoretical framework. You know, when you do a literature review and you also tend to create a theoretical framework, it'll help you build the foundation of your research model. Or sometimes even when you do a hypothesis testing, you know, at your stage, it's not mandatory, but just in case you get into, it's much more helpful in the literature review if you come up with a theoretical framework. So a proposal of theoretical framework is pretty much interesting. So the literature reviews, it's going to be narrative. It's going to describe, discuss on the flow of the literature, on often I say my learners come up with themes or the format, which I'm definitely going to share with you all. So it'll have a systematic flow of the structure as well when you have a fundamental theme or a format being maintaining as well. So that's where we land up on a literature review. And furthermore, why review of literature, which means we are getting to know precisely as a researcher, apart from your gap analysis and other factors, you know, the fundamental step in any business research project or processes which you undertake needs to involve examining scholarly or professional materials. Especially that's why we say refer to the journal articles, reports, books, conference papers, which will help you understand about the topic in depth as well. So step one here, why I have to do review of literature? For those of you all asking that question, first you need to conduct a preliminary search of existing material. That's what is said. You need to look, review, and assess whether your topic has been studied before or not, or even if it is studied, to what extent it is studied. Some of you all may take on supply chain operations management or sustainability, let's say. So when you're talking about this, it'll enable you to say, oh, someone has studied this before. And ma'am said not to take it, so I'll reframe. No, you should understand to what extent the person is studied, and that is how your gap identification comes into the picture as well. So analyze to do a preliminary search to see, even if there's a topic of your choice already there, what is the percentage that they've covered, which you feel that there's some gap left, which I can actually cope up through my study up next. So you have to determine the background of the knowledge through preliminary research, which is already known, or let's say sometimes it is unknown, and sometimes it's controversial and people may pose it to some extent and just conclude their study. So if you need to probe further about that, just do a preliminary search in the first place on the existing material. And you need to organize in literature review, organizing the information or organizing the context is pretty important. So whatever ideas, whatever findings you get it through literature, you have to collate it and organize it. So based on the previous findings, maybe thematically or methodologically or chronologically as well, we try to document or organize this literature format as well. So you have to synthesize the knowledge and you can detect a pattern among yourself. So which is going to be easy for you, chronology order, or it could be themes. Some of you all may feel that, okay, a topic has different correlated themes. Some of you all may feel that in the literatures, there'll be different methodologies used. And if it's vast methodology, then have classifications as per the methodology. Nevertheless, I'm going to give you a format. You can go through that as well. And then you can explain how your research fits into the context of what is already known. So if you have found a study, let's say the literature review justifies your research by placing it with a broader academic conversation, now you will have to demonstrate how your work extends or contradicts or complements the existing study. That is important. Look at the way I'm using the word. How, even though there is a study undertaken in your topic of discussion, I, as a researcher, need to get a new body of knowledge to the existing knowledge. So as a researcher, I'll have to demonstrate, first of all, how my work extends. So fundamentally, there's 80% of something I found already is going to be similar to my study, but there's 20% missing. So I have to see how I can extend further that existing study. So I wouldn't say, oh, don't do it because someone has done 80% of it. Why are you still redoing it? Maybe the person is done in Africa. You wanted to do in UAE. It's still possible. I would say, yes, go ahead, because you're trying to extend and you've identified some gap there and you would like to explore that gap in UAE. So extend the demonstration of your work. Sometimes you feel that the researcher has contradicted his or her own study. So through some literatures, you'd have found, oh, this is not right. This is not at all right. There's some contradictions with what the researcher is trying to define itself. If you feel that way, it's okay. Bringing out the topic. You try to explore and try to break the jinx of that contradictions that you have identified. And sometimes you may feel that my research can complement to that study. It is still fine. So the existing studies will be there. It's not like out of the thin air you can get something new unless or otherwise it's a new invention or something new contemporary topic that we're talking about. If not, somewhere at some point of time, you will have one of the keyword at least being re-reflected or reflected by multiple people. So you have to get into organizing this information. And then you have to also try to identify how other researchers may be in a progress and how you as an individual will try to get that progress. When you're reviewing literature, especially in an academic database, which is the activity I'm going to show to you, it can lead to new discovery on the ongoing project. Sometimes, the conference papers or people have created just an abstract for their study, but have got it published at a very primitive or primary stage, and you may find that, okay, these are working papers, why can't I do it? Right? So sometimes they don't get published because they are working papers, but just in case you get an abstract or somewhere, a snapshot, you may find that, okay, why can't I do a study? It is still fine. But you have to create an identity for yourself on how you're going to progress this further. It's just not like that, okay, something was eye-catching, then I did my academic database check, and I'm just going to pick it there. But you should have a pathway on how to run that show as well. And generating ideas. You need to read a lot. Unlike your previous assignments, which few of them I've seen, they have this tendency, because working professionals, I totally agree. So they would just browse the information on the assignment, refer on something, use paraphrasing tools, and get the information. It's not viable. You have to generate research ideas. Reading a wide range of material will help you spark new ideas, new questions, new objectives. So you might notice inconsistencies in the existing literature. Issues would be there, methodological issues per se, or sometimes they would have overlooked variables which you feel would have been the right fit. Try and generate research ideas that way. And then you have to also provide insights into strategies and technique appropriate to your research objectives. The literature review reveals commonly used methodologies, data collection techniques, analytical approaches, and it will help you to choose the most suitable tool for your own study. You need not break ahead. If you put in your heart and soul, sitting and reading these articles, sometimes I appreciate skimming as well, because I do skimming sometimes just to avoid unnecessary literatures, and when I do skimming, it gives me a lot of idea, and then it strikes me that yes, this is relevant to my study, and then I start reading it. Intensity of reading should be increased over a period of time. If you really wish, I've heard a few learners stating, Maria, technically in the part A or your SQA component, like you received distinction in all the modules, and you say that I'm also aiming a distinction here in dissertation. If that is your aim, I would suggest put in your 100% effort for the proposal and the dissertation. The reason is, it's going to the university for the marking. You will have an external examiner. Your marks would be presented in the board. So when you're getting into all these approaches, they go critical. They literally go critical because it's a UK university. We need to sit for the board's moderation as well. So intense examination of your work will be undertaken, which is why we say no to plagiarism as well, which is why we say no to generative AI content as well. So when you get into lit review, sit, analyze, read, and understand if this is a particular article appropriate to my study. Don't, for the heck of getting in, if, let's say 10 to 12 references is required as part of your proposal. Okay, so if this is a clause, you would find, oh, how will I go search 10 to 12? So randomly you put keywords, get in a few articles, and then quote them. No, it is incorrect. So people are going to sit, read, evaluate it. if they find it irrelevant, which is why all your in-text citations will have the references towards the end in the form of bibliography. So we may have to cross-check. Okay, did you? The next time if your microphone is on, I'm just going to disable your microphone. Just a heads up. There's a second time I'm putting it on mute. So be a little cautious if you've logged in through phone. Coming back to this study here. So I was talking about this particular point, appropriate techniques, strategies. So it's highly important that you look into the exact and appropriate lit review and the articles for your study. Don't, for the heck of quantifying the number of references, bring in the articles on the table and discover the recommendation for further research. Now, most academic studies conclude with a section on limitations and suggestions for future work. Now, these are very valuable sources for the researchable topic as well. So we have to be a little cautious in discovering the recommendations. So sometimes, the recommendations should, I have seen that people just copy paste it from XYZ literatures and then they will try to mimic it. So please don't do that. Although you discover recommendations, what is appropriate for your study, you're going to put forth that and conclude, because those will be unique to your study only. And develop a critical perspective. When you do a literature review, yes. Please, could you check your microphone? Okay. Marvelous. Marvelous, can you please switch off, mute yourself? Okay, I'm just going to disable your mic. Marvelous. Yes, so please be a little cautious. I think time and again, you people are using probably mobile phones. That's what I feel. Maybe it's through that you by oversight try to use your microphone button, switch it on. So be a little cautious. Now coming back, critical perspective is going to be the last point on why review there. I'll take a question, Tafim, after the last point there. Okay? So you have to develop a critical perspective. Now, a literature review will enable you to critically assess the quality, scope, or findings of the existing studies. Because it's already done, you'll be able to see the findings as well of the study. So looking at that, you learn to evaluate the methodology and you will detect biases, question assumptions, and challenges or any sort of conclusions as well. So it's going to be quite important. And as a researcher, I've also given a few styles on how you have to write your literature reviews as well. Sometimes a researcher may be only in a position to identify the articles and try and give the combinations to say that, okay, author A mentioned these, author B mentioned these, and author C's points are these. So when you review, this is the summary or output you're giving. That's not what a review of literature is. When you're reviewing, you have to analyze the context. That is really important. Author A says this, so probably author C and A has similar variables or similar research questions or similar methodologies. So you will have to interconnect this. You will have to get in a loop to say, now these are the articles that are found to be similar, and the studies have been undertaken on these common functionalities. So your analysis should go critical. Just a description in the literature will not hold good. Rather, comparison, contrasting, providing criticisms is really important in your review. You're reviewing it. Technically, you're a reviewer of all these literatures. So you can just not say ABC, this is what they said. You have to compare, contrast what your observations are and how you can provide an outcome and say that although we have these many people contributing on the topic, similar to what I am going to do as a research further, there still existed a gap. So that is how you're going to be analytical and just not descriptive in your study. Maldives, just I got home from flight. All right, no worries. Do not be apologetic, but then a little cautious. Understand probably you had a jet lag. So I'm just going to disable. Yeah, I'll just enable the option. Yeah, it was disabled. I'm just going to enable. Thank you for the chat there. Tafim, go ahead. What's it? You raise your hand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. So I have a question. Uh, so for example, let's say uh, our topic is confirmed and we are now in the literature review stage, or for example, we are looking for current articles. And of course, we are going to be using keywords to know what relevant articles are there.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we decide? So I've done it in my assignments before, but like just to get clarity from you, how do I decide that if I'm going through an article and it
Mm-hmm.
mentions my research topic, can I refer to that in my own article, or should I refrain from that? Like, what's that level of satisfaction that the assessor require of us?
Yeah,
Do
you
you
can refer
understand?
codes, you can refer code and bring in to the extent of knowledge that has been contributed towards existing article, whatever you're trying to pick to, that is absolutely fine. But it shouldn't be a copy paste work. So technically, we do not want the theme to bring in up, let's say, 6 articles and just depict the summary of these articles. That's not what we're looking at. Rather, apart from bringing a summary, compare, contrast, and see how you have identified a gap. See, technically, you should be analytical in this process. I'm certain that the theme is going to get beautiful articles relevant to his topics. That's how you're getting into that keyword search as well. Using Booleans, I'm going to teach you how you can get the articles streamlined as well. Generally, I get these questions as well, just to add on to the theme's question. Mario, when I browse on this particular topic, I see um, almost 50,000 articles. So am I going to pick all 50,000? No, not necessary, which is why we do a keyword search, which is why you need to be clear about what terms gets into your topic, what sort of terms gets into your objectives, what are the variables you're going to use, right? So again, coming back to the theme's question, you can get in the articles, but not complete replication. You have to be analytical. So technically, when I read Tafim's lit review, I need to understand what uniqueness is Tafim's research going to get out of whatever he's quoted in the literature review. So that is important. And of course, you can carry forward, you can quote them, you can, which is why we say provide in text citation. Sometimes, you may be taking the exact lines from the existing literature. It's absolutely fine as long as you put the in-text citation and try to conclude it right there. That takes the discussion forward. And as an assessor, definitely we are looking more at the analytical than just the descriptive. Anyways, I'm going to screen share and show you a prototype as well on how your work can be beautified as a researcher as well. I can right away probably get it since you asked the question. Are we landing on the same grounds? Was that your question?
Yes, because it always makes me worried. And going
Yes.
into the knowledge, and then it has to be relevant. So then
Yeah, of
how to
course.
effectively decide the line I'm reading on the screen? Should I put it into my work or refer to it in my work, or should I no?
Yeah. But obviously, it definitely has to be a contribution as well. But if there are any unavoiding circumstances where you literally like to, replicate the same, please cite it. The more you cite it, the safer you are. So, in line with what the theme is asking, now this again is one of the title actually, not the topic precisely. Um, the impact of social media on adolescent mental health. So this is a section of literature review. So if you notice, what exactly should be part of your review? Now, several studies have explored the relationship between social media use and adolescent mental health, so producing mixed findings. So the first line, as a researcher, I'm going to own it because I have, at least in these 3 paragraphs, trying to bring in 1, 2, 3, 4 of the articles in line with an analysis. Right? You see, I've provided 4 in-text citations. Now, within this 4 in-text citation, now if you as a third person needs to read, you have to understand what these 4 people in their article or in their work have depicted. Now, again, when you're bringing in literatures and citations, it should not be older than 5 years. This is the new rule that has been put forth by the university. And also in our publications, we generally, get into reputed publications. So this is one of the rules. You cannot get primitive articles as literature. Nevertheless, if you have any theories which talks about or definitions which talks about your study, you can still go ahead. Now, if you notice, I said not to use older than 5 years, but then I myself have depicted here something from 1973 by Coates, and it's a collective contribution. That's why it goes on at all. So this is actually a run through on gratification theory. So I had to cope that, which is why I had to pick a work from 1973. So unless otherwise it is a definition or something that talks about a theoretical framework or a theory which adds on to the academic value, please do not get very primitive articles. Otherwise, revolve around new articles. Okay, so if you notice here, so this is how you start. You need to have the run through of connection. Now, Smith found that increased time spent on platforms like Instagram correlated with higher level of reported anxiety, depression among teenage girls. So this is Smith's study on similar aspect of impact on social media on adolescent mental health. And I don't stop there. I'm connecting after Smith what happens. However, see, I'm comparing and contrasting. After Smith's work, I'm trying to get, however, Patel and Gwen, 2020, again, I'm going to quote that because it's their work. I'm going to take it forward, challenge these results, suggesting that the negative effects were largely meditated by pre-existing mental health condition rather than social media use itself. If you notice, these 2 studies are contradictory, which is why I use a link word telling, however. See, the language should be this way, where the reader finds. So just with these 4 lines, I am able to say that there is a study which talks about anxiety and depression, which is interconnected with the platform like Instagram on mental health. There is also a study which talks about that pre-existing mental health conditions also plays a very important role rather than just the social media on adolescent mental health. And then I come back. Their longitudinal study using a more diverse sample over 2 years emphasized the importance of controlling for confounding variables. Now, again, I'm talking about the variables, which is important. See, this is where you need to play around. Now, these are longitudinal study. What you people would do is cross-functional study, which is for a shorter period of time. So you don't sit for 2 years taking diverse sample, right? You wouldn't, because your study is for the dissertation and part B is 6 months. So this is longitudinal. This actually becomes a part of the methodology. Yours is a cross-functional study. When I teach on Sunday's Research Onion, you would understand better. So I then reflect on that. And then I'm picking the third reference here. Further complicating the narrative. So it's getting further complicated. I need to say that. It's getting further complicated. See, the way you write matters in literature review. Now, again, Fafim, not that I've not taken works from Smith or Patel. I have, because this is the output which I have taken from their conclusions, their observations in the study. But how am I trying to fit in my language as a narrative is important, as an analytical researcher is important. So I give these two contrasting views, and then I say further, complicating the narrative. Narrative is my own narrative, which is in the first paragraph. I start about Alvarez, found that the type of social media engagement, passive scrolling versus active interaction, plays a significant role. Again, what sort of social media engagement are we looking at? Passive scrolling. You people would have noticed. I was really flabbergasted per se that as in a common gathering, people have this passive scrolling. You know, I don't know, the shorts on the YouTube, you notice, they keep swiping. I don't know. The moment they look at the video, within 2 seconds, the brain is able to comprehend everything, and you feel, okay, this video is not relevant. Scroll, scroll, scroll. What does it depict? Your social media engagement is depicted there. So Alvarez has got a few things out there. Passive scrolling versus active interaction. Again, it could be chats with your peers or some XYZ people. You may get into active interaction. Now, further, I get into active engagement was linked to higher self-esteem, passive social support, while passive use contributed to feeling of isolation. Now, imagine that is true. What Alvarez is trying to say is true. And purposely about this topic, because most of you, at least in today's session, can relate to this. I think you have all become addicts of social media platform, at least if not you. Your younger generations have been a prey for this. So active engagement is commenting, posting, probably your conferences, your meetings, your webinars, seminars, could be something in your offices. And active interaction plays a role. And then you're talking about active engagement, commenting, posting, and you're slightly taking on passive use, which is isolation. Then is the most of the time you spend when you're alone in isolation. Probably you're spending most of your time using your cell phones or social networking sites just to build that community or bail away time with your scrolling experience. Right? So this I was trying to link with the gratification theory, individual motivations and the influence on media effects. I try to conclude there. So within 2 paragraphs, I tried to bring two contrasting and third, another dimension on the similar themes. See, this is how you need to be narrative. And critical gap in literature. Here, this completely is my stand as a researcher. So I took 4 citations. I have given 4 observations. And then I conclude, while existing studies generally acknowledge a relationship between social media and mental health, which is what my topic is, never deviate from your topic, right? So they diverge on the causality and moderating factors. A critical gap in the literature is lack of cross-cultural perspective. This is what you people need to do as well. See, I'm just giving you an example of a snapshot to understand the context, but your literature review will not stop with just 4 references. So the gap that I found, this is very important, which you need to find, critical gap in the literature. That is the crux of your lit review. So I cross-cultural perspective that most of the studies were based on Western context. Now, I can't tell everything here, which is why I'm giving citations and references so that if people are interested, they're going to do, again, they're going to refer in the back end. What is relevant to my work, I'm doing it and concluding. Additionally, few researchers, I'm not stopping there. I've also tried to ensure to say, additionally, we have had few researchers who have considered how algorithmic personalization may shape their emotional response and aims to explore, okay, again, an increasingly relevant issue in the age of TikTok, Reels, all those. So as per these studies, mostly they have aimed on Instagram and TikTok Reels. Like I said, YouTube Shorts. Addressing these gaps, the present study aims, that is, now I tell the people, the readers, that addressing these gaps, I'm going to aim my study not only on the psychological outcome of social media use among adolescents, but also how the cultural context and algorithmic design influence the outcomes. So this is important. And if you see, the yellow component is what is my uniqueness. The other component is all a depiction of their own citations, but it's not a copy paste. I have paraphrased to make sure this is the crux of these citations. So I'm going to put this as a screenshot in the chat as well, just in case people who missed the recording, they can check again. So it's highly important. You'll have to get into that context, you know. The theme, okay, doom scrolling. All right. Thomas, what are the best practices for integrating AI into my research but ensuring full compliance? Okay, that's a good question because most of the researchers will have that query as well. Now, integrating, sorry, AI is inevitable. I totally agree, given today's context, that people can never evade using AI, especially generative AI, I would say. But whatever extent you're using, please ensure that you paraphrase it, put it in your own words, because we have a software in the Turnitin which we do check all your work on the generative AI content. So if you're just copying and pasting generative AI content, let's say DeepSeek or ChatGPT, you're trying to use on a given topic, the content discovery, we do not expect you to just copy paste, which is why we give you a threshold. Overall, less than 40%, individual, less than 3%. Anything beyond that, caught up, is going to be flagged off. So please do not replicate AI content. Now, it's easy for me to put the topic on generative AI. It's going to generate me humongous content. And you pasting it here is definitely going to help us identify, all right, this is a pickup from generative AI. So paraphrasing is the best way to get out of this. So use generative AI in a very scholarly and ethical way. Do not replicate the content. And definitely you people are going to 90% and above, I'm certain that you're going to use generative AI, but no replication. And citations are going to help you to a larger extent. That's stating you're giving a credit to the author, whoever is being part of their study that you're reflecting here, relevant to your work as well. All right? So the theme's question landed upon a good discussion there. And Thomas, yes, the theme.
I have one more question in the example that you shared with us.
Mm,
Uh,
Go ahead.
okay. We noticed that you paraphrased the findings in other articles. Uh, in our previous assignments, sometimes we would directly like copy certain specific statements related to our assignment topic with inverted commas to show that these are basically what we are referring to.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this dissertation state, are we
Mm-hmm.
allowed to like put in short specific statements and inverted
Yes,
commas with
provided
the
it
citations?
is, yes, provided it is inverted, yes. And to a larger extent, I don't think people will bring in up that, but I like he's getting critical on it. That's really good. So with the inverted or quotes sometimes, yes, of course, but you need to get in that inverted commas and the inverted quotes as well as part of your citation. If you're doing that along with the in-text citation, you're safe because you're still giving the credit. And when you putting that inverted symbolization, the depiction here is, which means you've literally copied it from someone who's trying to quote or make those statements. So that is well defined. But in-text citation is a must. Okay? That's a good question. I think he's getting critical on literature aspects. Good. And moving further, yes, the process of literature review. Can someone explain to me what could be the possible steps of literature review? How and where do I start? Where do you start? And how do you commence literature review? What's the first step? Okay, so if you wait, I'm going to give chance to others. I'll get back to you. I'm certain you will at least give me some response relevant to the question. So let me give chance, then I'll come to you. But I'm going to ask you as well, okay? Yes. Where to start or how to start the process of literature review? Anyone, whatever you have known or done earlier. Yes, Jonas.
Yes, ma'am. First of all, we need to search on the topic and the material which is already published or available.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
then from then onward, well, you can build up your cases.
Okay.
So
So
the first,
search on
yeah,
topic.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can easily find out whether any similarity is there or what are the extra gap analysis you are going to do or what are the new idea you're going to put on that particular topic. These things should be there on the next step. But first you need to identify what are things already done in the past based on the topic which you have chosen.
Okay. Thank you. Nice. Good way. Thanks, Jonas, for that. I see most of us chat, search on the same topic. That's what most of us says. Nikki adds on, use the keywords to search, organize accordingly. Good. Keywords are very essential. So I like topic and keywords. I'm going to take these two terms especially. And Venetia, introduction on the topic. Okay. Okay, maybe the word topic is what I'm going to take from your chat as well. And Venetia, did you fill the tracker? I didn't see a row filled. I was reviewing all the names. Ensure that by
Hello,
Saturday, at
ma'am.
least you have... Yes, Venetia.
Yes, sorry, I couldn't attend the last session as I've
All
already
right.
informed. So my daughter is not well. So definitely I'm going through the
Okay.
slides and so on. So I will make sure to complete it by this weekend.
All right, all right.
Thank you.
Because I keenly notice the names, which is
Yeah,
why I saw your name in the chat and I remember I was just recalling. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. How's your
thank
daughter
you.
now?
She's much better, but we have treatment going on.
Got it. Got it. Okay, fine. Thank you,
Thank
Anisha,
you.
for answering. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Neither. Describe the objectives. Okay, so topic, keywords. Now it's gone to objectives. Rather, I would say research questions. Neither's put forth objectives. I would be, yeah, more, you know, um, when it comes to objectives, again, your questions is what leads to objectives. So questions are your first step. So which is why we need to see the other way around. So moving on to objectives from there, questions would be better. So always ensure, ask for your research questions as well if you can correlate the literature. But thanks. The moment you said objectives, I wanted to clarify that as well. So Neeta's side and the theme, all right. Just wishing Anisha's daughter a speedy recovery. Okay. Anything else? Apart from this, anything else? Have grasped topic. Even Johannes was trying to talk about topic. Keywords, of course, yes. I'm going to talk about questions, research questions as well. Yes. All right, somewhat similar, but out of these 3 points, find the gaps. Okay, so finding gaps becomes a part of your lit review, of course. It is a process of lit review. Yes, but where to start? Excuse me. Where to start is what I was asking. But finding the gaps also becomes the part of the process side. That's correct. So, Tafib, anything to add? Because you raised your hand and I said I'll come back to you later.
Thank you. Other colleagues, they covered it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So that's what he wanted to put forth as well. All right. So most of the points I think you people have covered, but again, primarily you need to look beyond this as well. The first of all, the review of literature. How and where do I start? The literature review for some of them, psychologically itself, I have gone through a lot of readings to understand how do even people, especially the first time researchers, take the step or process of lit review. Some of the researchers have technically told that people can feel overwhelming. The moment they see, oh, humongous content, analysis, just not description, just no replicating. So they start overthinking and becomes overwhelmed to learners. But when you break down the process into clear steps and you can manage it efficiently, literally, this aspect gets quite simple in comparison to other chapters. So, in literature review, first and foremost, I'll give you the tips, what you need to do. Okay? All right, let's cast there. For information, that's actually the Google Forms, which you will have to fill based on the sessions. So whenever you find time, so please do fill it across. It's mandatory that you need to fill in the form as well for your reviews. It's important for us to understand. Excuse me. So now, coming back to the lit review, the process, I'll give you a few handy tips per se, which is workable even if you're a beginner in this step or even a beginner in research. Because I've tested this on most of my learners, and I would rather say it quick hacks in lit review. So this is something I have tested on my learners. So I can, proudly say that if you follow these steps, it's going to help you. The first thing is clarify your research topic and questions. This is really important. then I know this is going to be my topic. And these are going to be the questions. What are questions? So technically for these questions is what you're going to find the answer in your research. So before you can even dive on keywords or before you can look into something, first sit back and understand, do you know your topic well? Which is why I said, first fill the tracker for me, because I need to know if my learners know how to structure a topic. It all begins with your topic. It's just like, what's your name? It all starts with your name. And then you introduce about XYZ other stuffs, right? So first, when I ask you, okay, introduce, you'll say, okay, my name is Tafim, my name is Syed, and this is Venetia. That's how you say, you start, right? So clarify your topic. That is the face of your work. So the moment I look at your title and the dissertation, it should interest me to even read, to even go ahead. So clarify your topic. And then, do you know even your research questions? Define your research question. Focus on these two aspects, which is really important for you to begin with. So once you know this, you can move on to the other steps. Now, what are the other steps? I'm not going to literally, get you into very well defined. No, this is simple, easy, and fundamentally, you'll be able to achieve this. You're going to identify keywords and concepts. Keywords and concepts play a very important role in your study. Now, these keywords will give you an extraction of main ideas from your research question. In fact, most of them fail to understand what this keyword is. They feel that, okay, it's going to be a highlighted word in my study, but you fail to understand that your research question hides these keywords in research. So try to get in the information in your research question itself. It'll be hidden in your research question, the keywords, which in line can become the variables as well, or dependent and independent variable, right? So keywords plays a very important role. What are keywords generally in research? For those of you all who are wondering, okay, time and again, Maria is talking about keywords. Now, keywords are the essential terms, I would say, in research. When you're looking at keywords, they represent core ideas of your research itself. Generally, in literature review, in database search or search engines or catalogs, we use keywords very extensively. So keywords, they become searchable labels that can either describe the subject of your study, context or scope of your study, or in fact, the variables itself, the factors involved in the study. And this is very important for us because it'll help us to find relevant resources. Generally, when you look into peer-reviewed article, just below the abstract, you'll have keywords, which means these are the discoverable search towards the topic associated. So a well-chosen keyword can make your literature search more efficient and more focused as well. Simple example, okay? Now, if I'm talking about, I'll just give you the impact of climate change on urban flooding in Southeast Asia. Okay, imagine this is going to be a topic for a study, okay, which you'll have to undertake. Now, what do you think are the core concepts that are compromised in this particular topic? What do you think are the core concepts? Which ideally is your keyword? I'm going to get to the related terms later, First, I just want you to give me a clarity on these. That's the title. I'm just going to make it much more. Okay. So I want you to identify core concept. I want you to identify related terms. Probably you can call it synonyms. Okay. So can you identify? And this is your topic. Impact of climate change on urban flooding in Southeast Asia. What are the core concepts? You can post on chat. Climate change, perfect. That's good. The core concept is climate change. And then I need two more. I've added two more rows purposefully. Look at this. Just read this. It's hidden there. I'm not asking you to look beyond this. It's all hidden here. You're just going to unpeel that. That's all. We say, dissect the human body. It's dissecting the title or topic there. Climate change, I'm going to take that one. I need two more. So please focus. You're just going to get it all from here. All right, I see chat. Manzur, urban flooding. Very good. Very good. I'm looking at one more. Environmental concern, impact, flooding in Southeast Asia, urban flooding. So I've taken urban flooding. Yes, that's the appropriate fit. And only three concepts can come there, okay? Which is why I've put three rows. There's not more than three. So don't overthink. So climate change is the exact answer I'm looking for. Urban flooding, exact answer. So the theme is given me on climate change and urban flooding. Manzur did he as well. Very good. One more. I see flooding in Southeast Asia by Jonas and Venetia unpacked the theme Southeast Asia. Yes, that's correct. So technically, it's Southeast Asia. Now, are you understanding? You need not look anything outside the box. You just have to dissect the information from your topic. Now, for people thinking, oh, where do I go find keywords? It is in your topic, okay? Now, I'm going to correlate it with the related terms and synonyms. This is how you land up, When you say keywords and concepts, this is how you land up. So always put it in a table. Core concept from my topic, I'm going to pick and choose three. Now, keywords as well. Don't bring 6, 7, 8 keywords on the table. No, which means you're diluting your study. Your study should narrow. The more you narrow is the better way where you can run unidirectionally your research. Too many keywords, too much of clutter. Max 3. I would say 4 is okay still. 3, stop there. Okay? And related terms, synonyms. Let's try to come up with the first one. Climate change. What could be the related terms or synonyms that can fit in climate change? What could be the terms that can fit in climate change? Think what can fit in. Perfect. Marvelous. Global warming. I'm going to add global warming. That's correct. I'm looking at two more topic that can fit in, that is synonyms. Greenhouse effect. Michael, perfect. Greenhouse effect. Wonderful. You people are doing great. So you're all getting into the skin of lit review. I got first one, global warming. Second one, greenhouse effect. Third one. Look at the topic. See, carbon emission Marvelous. If you look at the title, there's nothing about pollution. See, emission, pollution, there is a correlation. Had my title somewhere had pollution, carbon emission would have fitted in here. But you have something called as urban flooding, right? So, which is why you look at these terms, it'll give you an idea. Climate change, if you look on urban flooding, so think from that perspective, you'll get it. Didier says monsoon seasons. Okay. How do we relate that? What is monsoon part of? Temperature. Okay. So Prashant, Didier, you're all talking on that word which I'm looking at, but I need refinement. Narrow it. What is temperature, monsoon to do with? Weather. Brilliant. Brilliant. I need that. Weather conditions. So I'm going to talk about extreme weather here. The reason is it's urban flooding. Imagine, what is urban? We're all staying in urban locality. Imagine urban flooding. I'm not talking rural, semi-urban, urban, a city, a urbanized economy is flooding, which is alarming. Tomorrow, I mean, it's very common here in Dubai, at least, we say we are developed, we say we are equipped, we are fashionable on too many things, our infrastructure is overwhelming, we have skyscrapers, we have tallest building in the world. But when it comes to rain, we are hit drastically. It floods. No matter where, what, at least primary areas, it floods. So I'm talking about urban flooding. I'm getting it. So good. The weather conditions, your temperature, monsoon. So we're talking about extreme weather. Perfect. I'm liking my learners. So due to extreme weather is where urban flooding takes place. If not, the city still remains the city. Cloudbursts, yes. So I'm not getting there much more because, Southeast Asia, if you notice, naturally itself it rains. Probably, like Richard is trying to mention, or Manzur, there may be infrastructure failures or drainage system failures, but I'm just restricting it to 3 for now. Let's try, excuse me, let's try urban flooding. Synonyms. Give me 3 terms for urban flooding. Lack of infrastructure. Okay. What else? I'm going to take the drainage system failure. Whoever, yeah, I think it's Richard there. Part of urban flooding. All right. Lack of infrastructure as well. Jan, is your point? Excuse me. I'm not going to take cloudburst because considering the geography of Asia, Southeast Asia, they naturally get the rain there, an extreme rain, and they don't need a cloudburst there. Had it been UAE, I would have opted your option there. Okay, so one more. Urban flooding, synonym. Infrastructure, you're looking at lack of infrastructure, drainage system failure. What else? Why do you think urban flooding takes place? Bye. One more. See, this is how you narrow down. And also, do not pick a topic if you're not familiar with it. See, now I picked a topic where you're all able to correlate. Oh, India flash flood. Okay, cloudbursts. Southeast Asia. So it's trying to justify there in Asia. So, maybe rarely they would do that. Cloudburst can happen where because of the drought, all those kind of thing they get into picture on agricultural thing. If not naturally, they are, blessed with the rain out there. He says it's a citation. Okay, that's good. People are getting there. Good, good. Weak governance, mismanagement. All right. That's good. See, people are thinking now. Probably it could be the government failure. Again, the infrastructure is correlated with the government. Okay, so rather than putting government, I would just mention poor planning. Okay, so poor, excuse me, planning of this, excuse me, of the city. Excuse me. Then Southeast Asia. The third option, Southeast Asia. What could be synonym? All right. Population, yes. Good. I think someone had posted population for previous analysis. Size of the population. Technically, they are overpopulated. So size of the population, that's good. Developing countries, yes, that's also good. And they're not very well equipped. Low-lying coastal cities, yes. This can also be a reason. Nice. Very good. See, you just spent 10 minutes with me. Not more than that. You were able to at least get the keywords on the screen for the topic, which means now you're all set to collect the articles for the review. Why? You have got core concept, which is your keywords, and then to further refine your search, you have taken synonyms. So based on only these 3 rows, you're able to get multitude of your articles for the study. So this is how you need to structure your process of review. Keywords, concepts. Don't panic. Oh, what are keywords? How do I get it? Where are they? Where do I search it? No. The moment you took in analyzing these things, that is more than enough for you to get into the keywords and concept search. That is all, which means you should have the clarity as much as you can on the title in the first place, which means your title needs to be refined. The more you refine the title, keep it short, keep it very condensed, which covers the topic on your discussion as well. So clarify your research topic in question, keywords and concepts. It's necessary to a larger extent that this is going to be one of your major steps. And apart from this, I would also suggest on the other steps as well. How can you go about, having this process? Furthermore, to refine your study is where you need to conduct this search strategically, which means you need to know where or how you choose the search engine. You can't, randomly have your search happening. There'll be multidisciplinary database. If you know Google Scholar, they are great for broad searches, including articles. You'll get theses, you'll get books, part of Google Scholar. You'll have JSTOR. JSTOR is good for humanities and social sciences. You'll have Scopus, Web of Science, which is broader aspect of including the citation tracking. And also, you'll have specialized database per topic, medical, biology, engineering, etc. And fundamentally, for you people, Google Scholar holds the best. And apart from that, our library, which is in your LMS, has ProQuest. So please do check on the ProQuest. The library catalog will help you to do the same search engine drill as well. But choose Google Scholar on priority and conduct your search strategically. I would suggest you get the search strategically, for which you need to know Boolean operators, which I'm going to teach you after the break. And you're going to do a live demo sharing your screens as per my command on Boolean operation. So technically, these core concepts and synonyms, you're going to fetch me articles using the Google Scholar after the break. Okay. So applying filters, I'll teach you, especially the publications less than 5 years older. Language should be English. The document type can be peer-reviewed articles or review articles. So we can refine our searches and select literature review, which means you should start by reading the titles and organize your findings. See, in lit review, doing this drill is good, easy, simple, but you have to organize your findings. You have to somewhere collect all this work. So I have created a template somewhat, similar to this core concepts per se. I've created a template which I'll be sharing with you all, which you can generally use for your work on literature review as well. So that will be very useful for you to organize the findings. Managing the growing number of sources can be challenging. Google Scholar, you will probably be, excuse me, brilliant in giving the articles for me, but you may not be in a position to correlate it and then, put it on relevant database. So I'll help you to organize your findings as well in a prescribed format, probably in a spreadsheet again. And you have to take notes critically. When you're organizing the findings, it's important to take notes critically. And then you start writing your review. So important 6 steps you follow, your literature review becomes pretty easy. Okay, so I'm going to give you certain formats as well on how you can get this review right. But for reference, as of now, I'm just going to paste this here. I'm going to send in the weekly email as well, but nevertheless, for class discussion, you need it as a reference, which I'll be providing. And we're going to have a short break now, 15 minutes, of course. So post break, I want you to be ready with the Boolean operators. So I'm going to give you the command. So on your topic, okay, I want you to get the aspect of the core concept and the synonyms, whatever I've done on the screen, you should do it on your topic now. Which is why I said at least by Thursday's class, try to get in a tentative topic. I'm going to refine it for you, but few of y'all have done a brilliant job. Others, I'm definitely going to refine, highlight it, but it's too early for me to flag off. So I'll wait until Saturday's class and then work on your sheets. So Richard needs the link for the Excel. Yeah, I'll provide that. So let's take a 15 minutes break. Then we'll get back. So be ready with your laptop or PCs. We're going to understand how we can do the core concept search using keywords for literature review. All right. So I'll meet you after 15 minutes. Take care. We'll see you soon. All right, I'm continuing with the session. Hope you're all glued to the laptop. So, okay, I'm just going to put on mute. Please check. There's a name that says user office. Just putting you on mute because my voice is echoing. All right, so prior to the break, I was just talking about how can you get into the lit review process. And these are the 6-step hack that I was trying to get on board as well for most of the learners. If you feel this is something exhaustive, so please try to refrain from very exhaustive work, because all it requires are these 6 steps. If you are clear with these 6 steps, you'll be in a position to get a better focus as well. And the core concepts and the synonyms which we were working collectively. And good job. I think few of you all gave me appropriate answers. So now I'm going to help you to reflect on planning your literature through the parameters of your search, which is technically these 4 ideas in line with your website searches. The parameter of search, you have done that in the previous slide already, the keyword search terms to be used. You guys did it again. The database and search engine to be used, that's what we're going to reflect now. And the criteria for selection, again, I'm going to show that to you. And simple parameters, if you notice, the language by default should be English for your study. And the subject area, again, based on the business management topic, you're going to choose. You're just have given example as accountancy. The business sector is important. I say my learners always try to depict the business sector in your study, because for any sort of business management research, your business sector plays a very essential role. The moment we look at the sector, sometimes, when you do your literature review itself, the title will give you an understanding of the business sector, which refers to a specific industry or a part of economy that you're trying to focus on. Now, why this matters? Again, the business practices or challenges and strategies, they vary by sector. So it's always useful to target the sector that aligns with your research topic as well. And I also say my learners, look at the geographical area as a parameter as well. Now, in the previous study, I gave an example of Asia. Typically, when you're looking at Southeast Asia, it covers, the geographic area. So this parameter on geographical area is important. The reason is it will give you the limitations to explore your research as well. So sources related to specific country, region, or continent is much important. So when you do a study, continent is too large, right? Your country is too large. Region, what region are you talking about, plays a very important role. I can do my study on UAE. Again, it's 7 Emirates. So are these 6 months enough for me to do? Head out. But I can choose my Emirates furthermore. Or I can just do the study on one Emirate based on a sector or based on the subject area. It is still possible, right? So geographical area is important. And publication period, like I told you, it is a mandatory requisite that you have publications latest 5 years, unless or otherwise your literature talks about a definition or a theoretical framework. Please do not use any very primitive work on publication. So limit your search to documents published with a specific time frame. So this will also help you to ensure that your data and the insights given are current, it is relevant, and especially when you look at the wrapping changing fields like technology, try to get relevance. Because 5 years ago or a decade ago, the exposure for AI, machine learning, business analytics, data science was not as much as what we are getting into today's pace of life. So please try to bring in the relevant literatures, at least search for the publication for the past 5 years is important. And the literature type, what type of literature we are looking into, which means the source material. It could be a peer reviewed journal, refereed articles, books, journals, reports, conference paper, proceedings, abstract, etc. So different types of literatures are part of it. And see here, some of your parameters, if you look at the research question here, this is one of the example I'd like to highlight on a research question. So the question is, how have green issues influenced the way in which the manufacturers advertise cars? This exactly is a research question. Now, if I'm going to have my articles to search, I use the parameter from my research question, like I was trying to tell in the slide, right? So clarity on your research and the question is important apart from the topic. So here, this example shows on the research question itself as a parameter for search. Now, the parameters in the research for question is important because it will try to give you a specific boundary or a criteria to narrow down. And also, this will give a scope of your research question to make more focused, manageable, and clear on your study as well. So you can always have a parameter of a research question as well. Now, looking at this question, what sort of parameters can you opt? Looking at these questions, I don't want you to repeat these, but looking at just this question, how have green issues influenced the way in which manufacturers advertise cars? I'm just going to expand this image. So this is a question here. Just looking at the question, what do you think are the parameters for your search? What are the parameters that you can search looking at this question? I'll pick up the next slide because I can give you examples. So this is based on research question. For those of you all who would like to see the image, I'm just going to post the image there. That's for your reference, and you can answer my question there parallelly, looking at the image there on the chat. So the first classification I'm going to give you is on topic focus. So what could be the possible parameter on the topic focus? Okay, Venetia says car, EVs, all right? So we'll go by, I'll give you themes to make it simpler. So based on the topic focus on this particular question, what could be the parameter that I can use as a search? First, my category is topic focus. What could be the parameter of search? Automobile industry, all right? So the theme is giving me automobile industry. Sustainability, very good. My topic focus, if you notice, yes, now the theme is coming back. Environmental concerns, yes. I would reject automobile and pick the second chat of yours. And Nick has spoken appropriate as well, sustainability. The reason is, if you look at the question is simple. How have green issues, which is what I said, when you have your topic, just peel or dissect your topic. Don't go anywhere outside of it to think loud, which is why I gave you the criteria's topic focus, which is your research question focus in this case. How have green issues influenced the way in which manufacturers advertise cars? I'm not jumping into sector now. I need to know the topic focus. Now, my question is green issues. So it's simple. I'm going to pick it on green issues. Your research is well defined just with the topic and questions for you to look into the parameters of your search engine or the Boolean factors as well for the keywords. Green issues, excuse me. For green issues, I can move further now. What could cover green issues? Sustainability, like what Nikki is trying to mention. All right. And if you notice, excuse me, the theme has mentioned GHG emissions. Again, we're looking at emissions, of course. We're looking at, yes, carbon footprints, which Michael has posted. See, now you're speaking sense. So you need direction. That's important. We're starting from green issues. I didn't get the word out of thin air. It's in the question here, right here. How have green issues? So that's my topic focus. Don't dilute, don't divert. All right. And then I'm also taking one other factor here, apart from whatever you mentioned. The question doesn't stop there. Green issues influence the way in which the manufacturers advertise cars. So I'm looking further into the question, and you're talking about sustainability, you're talking about emissions, you're talking about carbon footprints, not to forget environmental concerns. And I'm also looking at eco-friendly technology. Again, I think someone's just EVs, cars, when you're talking about the previous chats. I'm going to get that as well here. Next, I'm going to classify it as population or subjects. So technically, who are my targeted population here? Read the question. Population are the subjects. Whom am I going to reflect here? There's already an answer. Manufacturers, that's correct. I'm looking at what sort of manufacturers? Car manufacturers. So when Isha comes up with manufacturers, I'm just going to add car manufacturers to it. That's correct. You're going to look at the car manufacturers. But probably my study here can narrow down on specifying brands or the type of cars. Now here, I may try to get in electric vehicles or gasoline cars, whatever. Could be the classifier here. All right. Automobile manufacturers, exactly. So I'm going to get sector there as well at a later point of time. So the population is car manufacturers. I'm going to look at my respondents who are just going to be car manufacturers. Now, where am I going to look at my respondents? Again, in my Boolean search, I'm going to get the location, right? So the location should be based on the context of the study as well. So the other focus should be on the location. Geography matters the most. So what sort of location am I looking at here? Is it global car manufacturers or specific region I'm looking into, right? So this could be your country, or this could be your neighborhood, study that you want to indulge in. So anything of that sort, but the specifications of your geography is important here. And apart from that, the time period. In your case, by default, it's going to be a cross-functional study. But when you're doing a lit review, since I said 5 years, you're just going to revisit only 5 years work. Okay, so some of y'all may choose secondary base as well as part of your research just for the secondary resources on literature. So time period is important there. And the type of influence you're going to get on the study. That's also important. What type of influence are you going to get? You know? So most of the influences, again, pertaining to that research question is changes in advertising context is what I look here. Manufacturers advertise cars, right? So the influence there is, again, the changes that we're going to get in advertising content, because my themes, slogans, everything has to change depending upon what sort of vehicle I'm going to focus on as well. That's important. And what channels of advertisement? What you need to do is you should see if your study is focusing on these aspects. And of course, the sector, not to forget, we have automobile sector here, right? So we're going to get into the sector as well to a larger extent to see which particular sector am I going to make my study in. So these aspects you're going to search. Now, how many of y'all are using your laptop or PCs? I suppose most of y'all. If not, please attempt to log in. But those of y'all who have not logged in, it's okay, fine. Maybe you're driving on your way home, or probably you've logged in from your workplace, or maybe you're held up elsewhere. So I totally get it. So people are using your laptop or PCs. Now, I'll be sharing the link of Google Scholar. Please try to log in. I mean, there's no registration as such. It's an open website. And most of y'all would be using Google as a search engine, Chrome. So I want you to click on that link. So you would land upon the Google Scholar page. It should look this way. I'm sharing the screen. So technically, your page would be landing to the Google Scholar here. Now, I have picked articles. I'm not getting into my profile and library because I have exhaustive searches based on my research interest there. So you can highlight on articles. By default, it'll be on articles. I want you to start searching on this aspect. Okay, so first, you can add parameters based on your study. Now, if you notice, this is the page. Okay, this is actually the page which I had shared with you all to fill in the details. Now, in accordance with people are okay. So in accordance with the topic given, your title, I want you to search on the Google Scholar relevant articles. Now, how does this happen? How to search and narrow down your work. So all the D column content will be relevant for your search. And also the questions, research questions will be relevant for the search. So D column and column I. So people who have filled D and I, very good. So probably use the I column, that is your research questions, and the D column, which is your title that you have framed for the search. Now, how do you need to search? Get back to the chat, create 3 rows. Okay, so your notepad, Word document, or Excel, 3 rows you have to create, one on the core content and the other one on synonyms. And using the title, I want you to work on the 3 core contents and 3 synonyms pertaining to the core contents, like how you did prior to the break. So technically, I want you to do this drill on your work. Right? So the core concept, related terms or synonyms. Put your topic and each one of you, step 1, keep a topic here in a notepad or an Excel Word doc, wherever you feel comfortable working on as the class goes. So first step, get whatever title you have posted on my spreadsheet on a page or a document or even a PowerPoint, and then create a 2 column with the header, core concept, related terms or synonyms. And I want you to choose the core concepts in the first place and the related terms with maximum of 3, which is mandatory. There's no minimum. I want all the 3 core concepts with 3 synonyms each to be created. I'm just going to give you 5 minutes. Take a fresh page, document, notepad, Excel. Step 1, I want you to copy paste that particular title from your spreadsheet and have it here besides. And step 2, create 2 column, a table inclusive of 2 column. Identify 3 core concept from your title and the related terms. I need 3 main synonyms based on the core concept you have done. I'm just going to give you 5 minutes, maximum 7 minutes. Finish 2 steps right away. I think most of you all have very good topic. See here, you have your title. So copy this and create a table inclusive of 2 columns, core concept, and then the synonyms, 3 core concepts and 3 synonyms. See, many of y'all very well have given me geography. Qatar, Oman, UAE. So one of your core concept is easily identified, right? See, I can see UAE, Africa, UAE, Saudi, Qatar. So GCC is too broad. Numan, you have to narrow down. GCC is too broad. I mean, how would you cover the respondents unless you create a database of respondents, at least 100 people? And when you're talking about GCC, again, you have to cover every representative of the GCC in different countries. You can't just give me the combination of Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, and stop it there. Right? GCC should be all the representation. So unless you don't get your database on those many people, don't get too large. See, I like this. Russell Kaima, Prakash is just giving me rack, one of the Emirate. That's enough. If you need further, UAE is still okay. Mauritius, okay. But COVID-19. But I'm going to change the topics. I'm not approving anything now. Okay. So we are just doing a drill on the research review there through search engine. Some of you all have diverted from business management. Please don't get diluted. I need business management topics. That is the requisite from the university. I'm not going to approve your titles as yet. I'm going to wait until Saturday's class because see, few of them, I don't see these people filled. I just spoke to Venetia beginning of the session. Osama, Ome, Thorsef is just filling it here. Good. Okay, Fafim is getting it there. Sanad is filled as well. Good. Safira, it's pending. Ram, it's pending. Amar, Osama, Peter, please fill the details. Monza, I saw in the class, so please fill the details. Yes, Tafim. What's your question?
Yeah,
You raise your
sorry.
hand.
Yeah, just regarding my title, I still need to work a bit on it. I
I'm
have the
going to
problem.
rework on all your titles because, see, some of y'all at least have given me a structure, which is really good, but I'm going to rework on all your titles. Now, why I'm asking you to do this drill is for you to help you in the future on how can you get into the search engine for literature review, the articles. I'm not going to approve. That's what I said. Disclaimer, all these are not approved. Unless I give a green signal, please don't see transformational leadership and adaptive organization culture. I'm going to help you, definitely. It needs to be structured. And I think you're honest enough to say that you need hand-holding. Definitely, I'm going to help you, the theme. Okay, so as of now, just with what you have, projected here, just try to create step 1 and 2 on the core concepts and synonyms. You can choose the same, not an issue, but I'm going to restructure it. It needs a lot of clarity. I understand you're working on transformational leadership and organization culture, but it needs a correlation. We'll get it there. So
Yeah, in my problem statement, I think my problem statement is much clearer than the title. Should be the other way
see,
around.
he's analyzing himself. Okay. Yeah, role of transformational leadership in fostering an adaptive organization culture. Air cargo, yeah. But see, the sector is missing in the title there, but your problem statement is revealed it. And how this mediates resilience during crisis, assess how leaders can cultivate adaptability and innovation to withstand geopolitical disruptions is too much to cover. I mean, that's a wider area. What geography are you looking into?
So basically, we get affected wherever it happens. Our business, the nature of our business, but
Yeah,
if we have to narrow it down, that's
and
why I need
this
some help with
is
this.
yeah. I'm going to help you out, definitely. But geopolitical disruption is a wider, broader arena. I would
Yeah,
definitely cut that out. But I'll help you on simplifying it better. Just do me a
yeah,
favor of adding the geography in your title, where you stay. I mean, which locality you belong to, country,
okay,
anything. Just add
yeah,
it there. I'll help you restructure your title because I got to know the sector through a problem
Yeah.
statement. So we'll work it out. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So for example, if I can give a small example, so I'm working in Saudi, okay? It's Saudi cargo. But
Okay.
I'll give an example. For example, when the Russia-Ukraine situation happened,
You
the
know,
airspace
I
got
didn't want to
closed.
name the country, which is why I said that's a broader topic. And
Yeah.
sometimes it gets too controversial. So, you know, I'm gonna get you better on that. But I got the
Okay.
context. I totally got the context. So
Okay.
I just
Thank
didn't
you.
want to utter the countries there precisely because geopolitical in humanities and social sciences, we cover a load of aspects there. So we'll go a
Okay.
little
I will.
subtler. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. But all the topics per se, I'm not gonna approve anything for now, but good, at least you are in a position to give me a better depiction of what is your capability on research. That's really good. So after Saturday's session, the names which I'm gonna green flag and add it to the next tab, along with a few reformations, they would be approved. So I'm going to color code and give the approvals as well. Hope you're working on the
Hi,
activity
doctors.
given. Yes.
Yeah,
Nadi?
please, I would like to know your opinion regarding the title I mentioned and with the problem statement. I would like to know your opinion about it, please.
Okay, so body. Okay. Challenges in the, okay, this becomes a statement again, your title. Here you mentioned challenges in the luxury retail sector in Qatar. The latter is somewhat okay, but the former becomes like a statement. Now, this is like, Madi, the moment I need to search, let's say, what are the challenges in the luxury retail sector in Qatar? You know, any website will give me the answer. Now, we do not want the
Yeah.
title to become or structure in the form of a statement, you know? So your title looks like a statement here. So you need to create a research title rather than a statement. So you're getting it, right? So let's say if someone is working on an assignment on luxury retail sector, they need to know what are the limitations, challenges. So this becomes a statement. Rather, you can talk about, the evolving landscape of luxury retail in Qatar and what are the strategic responses to the key challenges? See, when I say this, you're looking at over a period of time how the luxury retail has been evolving in Qatar. So, the time lapse is going to give you an understanding on the luxury retail. So, eventually, when you're looking at the landscape that is evolving, the time lapse, you're also identifying the key challenges and providing strategic responses. That's important, rather than just putting it as a statement. Or this is something which, if I just copy and paste it on any search engine, it's going to give me an answer. I don't want a research which gives an answer. I need a research which has a problem. Your challenges should also talk about strategic responses. And sometimes you can look into luxury retail in Qatar where the market challenges and the opportunities have led to the shifting consumer environment. See, that is a little interesting when you're talking about, technically.
Yeah, clear.
The
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I'm just going to add on that element
Yes,
because
please.
when I try to rework, you know, I'll be picking up on this. The others, I hope you're all working on the given activity. Consumer environment. In the luxury retail sector. Okay, we'll take it that way rather than picking it up too much on just challenges. Market challenges and opportunities in a shifting consumer environment in the luxury retail sector. Okay, so this is just for my reference. I'm going to rework on that, okay, because that holds good with what you're trying to depict on your research gap as well. You're talking about Middle East here, although, but let's focus on Qatar alone. Okay, a good try. So that's from Mahdi's side. Nice.
Thank you.
So I'm going to definitely, yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to definitely highlight on certain aspects of your title. So how many of y'all have finished step 1 and 2? The core concept identification, that's this aspect. Should I narrow down manufacturing, Mumtaz? Yeah, that would be better. Right? So is there anyone who's completed this task based on your topic, co-concept and related terms? Anyone who's done this? Okay, Nikki, I see Nikki's response. Very good. Perfect. Nikki has posted on the chat, the image. Research title, Change and Transformation, Emerging Capability. Okay. That will drive successful digital transformation and strategic execution in the South African retail sector. All right. Either you'll have to get emerging capability retained or change and transformation retained, because these are two different stuffs. And you're trying to bring in at least 3 variables within the title, which are diverse. So, Nikki, either retain, change, and transformation that will drive successful digital transformation, blah, blah, or the emerging capability, and then continue, delete, change, and transformation, because you're using transformation twice in your title again. Okay, you can start and proceed with the emerging, a study on the emerging capability. You can go ahead with that, because see, too many times you're getting into transformation as well. All right, so digital transformation sector. Why sector there? Co-concept on digital transformation is good, and you brought in synonyms there. Sector retail, geography, South Africa. Okay. Instead of sector, is there any substitution that you can bring in from your title? Retail sector is understood from your title, but for the second point, I'm looking at another substitution, Nikki, from the title.
So food. So for example, food, supermarket, fashion, beauty, home. That would
No. Retail is absolutely fine, but do not get it as a core concept, because the sector remains the same. You still have the other variables which you can replace in core concept. So I'm not asking you to change the sector, rather the core concepts can be substituted with a different terminology from your title.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, got
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
perfect.
Thank you.
Because
Thank you.
geography is great, sector is great.
Mm.
What you did as a step in digital transformation, that is good. And what
Okay.
you've depicted as geography, retain it. I just need a substitution for sector and retail
Sector. Okay.
for a different variable instead of this. Let it remain the
Okay.
same in the title. I'm not worried about
Okay.
that, but bring in some other variables.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Yeah, because we need to get into search engine. So that'll be
Mm.
very helpful. So
Mm.
it's evident it's a retail sector that you've
Yeah.
depicted beautifully. Okay? Yeah,
Great. Thank you, Doctor.
you're welcome. All right, I have a couple of more joining Nikki there. Michael, the impact of military, veterans appointment on strategic leadership in private security companies in the Middle East. Beautiful. Very well written title. Middle East is too large. I mean, I'm looking at the geographical coverage. So military veteran appointments, officers versus NCOs, branch, different countries' forces. Good. Strategic leadership in private security. All right. So technically, he's, beautifully taken the topics, special terms, concepts there. Transformational. Oh, so again, Michael, transformational, transactional, autocratic. We may have to justify this in the literature review. The reason is the question would arise, there are a multitude of leadership styles. Why Michael precisely narrowed down to transformational, transactional, and autocratic? We need a justification. So try to bring in articles which can back your synonyms as well. Middle East, Iraq, Afghanistan. Again, we're talking about Middle East, but we just have depiction of two countries there. So see if you could, mellow down further on Middle East. Middle East is too vast. So I need you to slightly mellow down on your geography. Otherwise, all good. And also you need to back up on transformational and transactional and autocratic. Like the first question as a researcher, we're going to ask why and how. You narrow down on this. Did you do a pilot study for you to land up there? We may ask such questions. So, but that's a good one. Thomas, I'm just checking Thomas' work now. Analysis of predominant obstacles. Excuse me. Predominant obstacles confronting the operations of small and medium entrepreneurs in. Okay, now why precisely Gateway Business Center? That's going to be the first question. The reason is when you get into organization's name or, a particular brand, we have something called as ethical consideration. Now, Thomas, would the particular center be in a position to give a go-ahead for ethical consideration? Because I'm pretty sure your respondents are going to be from that particular center, right? So first of all, they should be in a position to give a green signal for your data collection. So if ethical consideration goes well, we can retain. If not, you can just go ahead with sector and the place. Because most of the times, all these work can be published. And when you're getting a degree vetted on the work, which is associated with some company and depicting either the brand or the company, again, we'll get into a data breach. So you'll have to be really careful. So upfront, you have put forth, but at later point, when you reach to data collection, will this center be in a position to give you a go ahead on data collection? If yes, then will they be in a position to get it recorded in your dissertation upfront? So we may have to slightly work on your title. I mean, the first stuff I'm okay. Just you revealing that is the business center's name is on ethical consideration. I'm just, trying to relook. So I'll advise, yes. I saw a chat that kindly advise. So I'm just going to rework on that aspect. Oh, not bad. Few of y'all have really taken an effort and put the tabular form. Co-concept, related terms and synonyms, strategic market entry. Where's your title, buddy? I don't see a title. Probably you thought I'd refer there and come back. That's, yeah, did you? Just copy paste the title. I see Mauritius. Competitive positioning. Okay, so ideally, Mauritius, local market constraints, climate specific formulations, competitive positioning. Somewhere it's generic. I'm trying to understand what, see, you're going to reflect on competitive positioning, of course. Climate specific formulations. So I need a title. All right. So I think Hamdi and Thossif as well as posted. I am really, yeah, it's pretty exciting to read the way you guys are articulated. It's good. It's really good. Abu Dhabi Emirate. You need to mention Emirate in the title. Abu Dhabi will suffice Thossif. And impact of AI adoption on business processes and growth of light commercial vehicle market share in UAE. Okay. All right. So, good job. I think some of y'all have really made an effort to put it in tabular form. So please retain, save the document, save the file. For those of y'all who are still working on it, ensure latest by Saturday's class you finish it. Up next, I'm literally going to take you on Google Scholar because this particular chapter is going to be a little exhaustive. At least 15 to 20% of the content in a dissertation is going to be part of this chapter. So you need to spend a lot of time. It's not a child's play like I would just get in on generative AI. It's not going to happen that way. So we're going to get it in a better form as well. Yes, Jonas, you had a question?
Doc, can you just give me just at the first impression about my topic?
Okay, you have posted in there. And I'll post on the chat, okay? So
Yeah.
because we are running out of time, that's why I cut short. I saw your I think that's your market share in UAE is your work. All right. I'll just post it on the chat now. I'll conclude the class and then I'll post it, Jonas. All right. So I'll just give you them. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So a couple of observations. Please keep step 1 and step 2 ready. Utilizing this, we're going to run the search engine. And I want each of you all to please log in using your system, PCs, or the laptop, whichever works better for you, because we need to navigate on a few settings on Google Scholar as well. Because these functionalities will be very similar on ProQuest, JSTOR, whichever website you're getting into on finding articles. And sometimes if you really find it difficult where the articles require on a preview or something, please give me a heads up. I need the title of the article or at least the ID number of the article, issue ID, so that I'll be able to download it through my premium account. I generally get into a lot of research, so I can crack that for you and give it. So please ensure Saturday session you log in through your systems so that you work independently. I'm happy at least these many people made an effort and they're posted on chat, which means if they can do, even you could do. So get in there. So now we have progressed introduction and getting to literature review. So next session, once our Boolean task is done, I'm going to give you another activity, which will be just like, I would say it's a riddle, where you need to fill in the aspects, identifying what is the work that has been undertaken as well. And apart from that, I'm going to show certain work on how a literature review needs to be recorded as well, which makes your work easy and the tabular form, so that in your proposal as well, how you can depict. Because up next, proposal is your first submission and presentation, which is component of your MPM. So it's highly important that you structure these as well. So whatever task I'm giving you is going to help you to elaborate further. So please work hand in hand and we can take it forward. So we'll meet on today. Meanwhile, I want you to please complete the tracker there on your title, questions, XYZ factors. Once that is done, please ensure that you work on the core concepts, the title, and the depiction of synonyms here. Just 3 rows, and you have to fill those rows, nothing more. So make an effort today so that up next your work becomes easy. And I'm going to run through on certain factors of your proposal so that we get the structure ready. So once Saturday's class is done, it's almost 50% of your portions. We are done. So the projection of your proposal, you can start articulating. So weekly email 2 after Saturday's session, which I'll be providing, will be inclusive of a structure on your proposal. So I'm literally going to give you a structure of the proposal. So I have prepared a prototype, which again, I'll explain during Saturday's class, but I want my learners to literally adapt to this style of writing for your proposal as well. So this is a prototype actually. I'll walk you through. Nevertheless, I just want to show you how the proposal works. Technically, this is your assignment brief. Once you download, you get with your title, background, problem statement, the analysis, research aim, research objectives, research questions. See, whatever you're doing there on the spreadsheet, you can just copy paste it here. Once I approve, rework, give it to you. So significance of your study. See, this is what it's trying to say, literature review. Your search strategy, themes, questions, keywords, what database you used, types, language, period, field. And apart from this, the core content, what I'm trying to make you do now, and the synonyms. So those are technically the keywords, the synonyms, what you're trying to get. And themes, questions, core concepts. So citations. So this is how you make your work easy in a lit review. So we'll do that Saturday's class, because lit review actually involves a lot of content. All right. So we'll meet during Saturday's class. Meanwhile, I think Jonas asked me to review something. I'll post it on the chat. So until then, take care. Ensure you come prepared for Saturday's class. And please fill in the spreadsheet for me so that your work will at least be completed. So take care. Have a pleasant evening and pleasant night. I will meet you on Saturday. See you all. Good night.
Thanks, Doctor. Good night.